Hello my sweets, it's Keisha. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new, welcome, and thank you so much for choosing to watch my video. It's Christmas in July, so in today's video, I'll be showing you how I made these two gingerbread themed stockings, and something a little different for me. I'll also be sharing a quick and easy monkey bread recipe that is a household favorite during the holidays. To begin, preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. These are the ingredients I'll be using. Half a cup of granulated sugar, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, 2 cans of refrigerated Pillsbury Grands, half a cup of chopped walnuts, I'll be using pecans, half a cup of raisins, 1 cup of firmly packed brown sugar, 3/4 of a cup of butter or margarine melted, and my secret ingredient, half a teaspoon of ground ginger. A link to the original recipe is in the description box below. In a 1-gallon plastic food storage bag, mix together the sugar, cinnamon, and ginger. Next, cut each biscuit into quarters and place in the bag with the sugar, cinnamon, and ginger mixture. Then shake it to coat. Arrange the biscuit pieces in a generously greased 12-cup fluted tube pan and sprinkle the nuts and raisins among the pieces. Mix the brown sugar and melted butter together, then pour over the biscuit pieces. Bake for 30 to 40 minutes or until golden brown and no longer doughy in the center. I googled gingerbread man coloring pages and found this guy. I reduced the size to fit the stockings I'll be making. Next, I made it into a pattern. I'm going through this process quickly as both the coloring page and the pattern I made will be linked in the description box. I traced out each part of the image I wanted to use individually and added overlaps in places where pieces will be glued together. Let me know down in the comments if you'd like to see this process slowed down and a little bit more in depth. Since I'm making 2 stockings, I decided to make one like the original and one with a hat and a candy cane. Next, I made a pattern for a toe and heel patch by tracing the toe and the heel of the stocking I'll be using. I didn't make a pattern available for this step as individual stocking sizes do vary. But as you can see, it is a simple process. After adding curved lines to the heel and toe, I labeled them and then cut them out to make sure I had a fit I liked. Today's video is in collaboration with 2 very sweet ladies I recently met. The first is Troy with At Home with Troy. She reached out to me a couple months ago to do Christmas in July and I just couldn't say no. The other is Julie at Crafts and Coffee. Both of these women are extremely talented and I can't wait to see what they both create. A link to their channels and videos is in the description box below. Go check them out. Here I have some of the fabrics I'll be using. I'll be backing them with Midweight Fusible web to give them more stability. The Fusible web has glue dots on one side to adhere to the fabric and is smooth on the other. To adhere it, use an iron on the wool setting for 10 to 15 seconds on each side. Once the fabric has cooled, they will be bonded together. Directions on how to properly adhere the Fusible web is directly on the packaging and can be found at most craft stores. Here you'll see I'm using my Cricut Easy Press. This is not necessary. I just couldn't find my iron. Who loses a whole iron? Now that all of the fabric I need for the gingerbread men and the toes and heels are prepared, I began cutting out the pattern pieces. One way is to pin the pattern pieces to the fabric, then cut them out. Another option for the smaller pieces is to trace them onto the fabric. Just be mindful of the direction of the pattern pieces. Also, I advise not to use a Sharpie. I just used it so it's more visible on camera. Next, I transferred any useful marks from the pattern pieces to the actual fabric using a light colored pencil. Next, to add dimension to some of the pieces, I am using Puffy paint. I'm also using liquid stitch to put the pieces together. As an alternative, you can use fabric hot glue or hot glue. I'm using liquid stitch because I have it on hand and it will dry flat and flexible. I picked up this gingerbread man fabric just recently at Joann's, and I'll be using it to decorate the cuff of the stocking. I tore pieces of fabric to my desired length and width to adhere to the cuff. Again, I'm using the liquid stitch to put the pieces together, then I set them aside momentarily. To prepare the stockings for the next step, I'm placing parchment paper inside to protect against gluing it closed. Next, I attach the cuff pieces to the cuff, making sure to neatly fold over the outside edges. Next, I attach the heel and toe patches and set the stocking aside. I drew a face onto the gingerbread men along with the icing squigglies and then filled them in with puff paint. As an alternative, you may use fabric pens if you're sure they won't bleed, or felt and buttons. You may have noticed that the original mug had a snowman on it. Although it was really cute, I decided to use a cupcake instead. I applied Mod Podge to this cupcake fabric and let it dry. Then I cut out the cupcake I wanted to use, then attached it to the mug. Moving back to the stockings, I added ric-rac to the toe and heel of the stocking. I used hot glue as it was easier for me to use in this case. Here I'm showing you I went a little puffy paint crazy and added colorful polka dots and also lined the edge of the mug. Now it's time to start putting everything together. I glued the marshmallows and the short candy cane to the mug. Next, I attached the hand and the mug to the gingerbread man's body. For the second gingerbread man, I attached his hat, then moved on to his hand and the candy cane. Next, I attached the gingerbread men onto the stockings. And for the final touches, I have 2 cupcake buttons that I purchased at Joann's. I cut the shank off the back so they would lay flat, and a pom-pom for the hat. The monkey bread is out of the oven and cooled on a rack for about 10 minutes. You definitely don't want to let it completely cool, or you may need a jackhammer to get it out of that pan. Next, turn it out onto your serving plate. Let it cool just a few minutes longer, then enjoy by pulling apart to serve, or actually in these times, you may just want to cut it with a knife. Either way, enjoy the warm, ooey gooey goodness. And here's a final look at how I temporarily styled the stockings. Don't forget to check out Troy and Julie's videos. They are linked in the description box below. If you've enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and leave me a comment below. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, love, inspire, create. See you next time.